Can you show clearly? Will you check it? Okay. Do it one more time. Lighten up.
But Eusi Kwayana is one such individual. As a student of history, I have long known about Brother Eusi Kwayana. But also part of my own history, I need to put this out. And I learned a lot more when my then student out of Harvard pursuing her MA degree. And she decided to write her thesis on the early political life of her history. I recall telling the jury that her thesis was not the first job, that was entirely something that is suggested by an thought that there must be roles differ to your to think that she needed to dig into the book of that up there was one person who did not do the of brother being planned in an entirely competent manner. Everyone else I interviewed literally praised his. I got the opportunity to understand precisely what actually talked about from when years first. When 14, when I believe was was my best work assignment. I wanted to read the comments of my life. That is the opportunity to try for a youth as we attended all the sessions which inspired in the city of Dr. But this was all the time to me. It transformed into an experience of immense powerful and personal that I declared for. Those our journeys were journeys of time, windows into the past, and where we insight into our country of vision. As we know, Brother Kwayana was an eloquent and depth knowledge in from a lifetime dedicated to justice, activism, and the duty of our life. Every word carried the weight, every account tasted unity, service, struggle, triumph, sacrifices that have shaped our nation. Listening to him, I realized that I was present for the living God, a man whose life is inseparable from the fabric of fairness to his social. The accounts he shared were not mere stories, they were lessons of courage, resilience, and on the unwavering of all. With each passing day, I found myself absorbing knowledge that no book, no historical document, no lecture, or history could fully capture. Before this assignment, I was known as my Kwayana for his writing, teaches life of philosophy. Have already positioned him in my mind as a towering figure of culture. But to share more than days from the QI conversation, for which the first time his wisdom and his unwavering moral compass was to develop a new form and to measure of respect for the man. That I was amazed by his memory of the fall. One day, he told me, he used to go to 2 days after. When we arrived, many people immediately recognized. He could not see them. All it took was for someone to mention the name of the relative and instantly to her. Even recalling their real name, not just to share their real name. He recalled their nickname, their called name. Many of them he had seen since they were children, 40 years prior. To think that he remembered them, that he remembered their family, that he remembered exactly where they lived, what jobs their fathers did. Elicited such surprise, genuine pleasure, and they warmly embraced it with kindness on their faces. This experience confirmed everything I have come to feel about Brother Kwayana. And by the end of my assignment, I realized and cheerful Brother Eusi Kwayana, an honorable politician, yeah, because at the time when people and grants were here and across the world and often marked by ambition, corruption, moral conflict, he has remained people having himself. He did something, he is steadfast, and most martyrs he has never been self-serving. In every sense of the word, he is a rare individual prioritizing people over principles over conflict and justice over obedience. Not just a guiding icon, he was extraordinary, the kind that emerged in any field, in any country, still stand out such history, right? This brings me to the context of the screening to research. This video is clearly into what the students call or the method of conducting historical research through recorded interviews, seen as a great who have personal experience of historical events period with the goal of adding to the historical record. Oral history is a primary school. It is a school of thought. It reflects personal opinions offered by creators and subjects. Oral histories are also used together with other primary schools to gain deeper insight, understanding into history. Importantly, oral history serves not only to record but also to preserve with the intention of being a common record some understanding of time. In fact, the video screening done by the great serves not only as a formal storytelling, but also as a valuable contribution to guiding the small story. The lived experiences, some of the lived experiences of the Eusi Kwayana is enriches our understanding of time through the typically important political. Please allow me to acknowledge the presence of our Vice Chancellor, Professor Martin, and for coming to this. At this time, I am pleased to we're not so from your They from July 18, 2007, the site was 134 p.m. Dear Mr. Kwayana, good evening. My name is Henry. I'm a student of the University of Guyana, pursuing a Master of Arts in History under Professor Winston. Presently, I'm considering subject for my thesis, and I find your goal in very interesting. Such as my thesis, I desire to write it better you. I'm still in the stages formulating my proposal. Thus, I'm formally requesting your permission to conduct interviews with you during the course of my research at your convenience. Such an opportunity will give me much needed insight. Will go far away in helping me complete my work. Sincerely hope that you would seriously consider my request as I anxiously wait. Thank you. Your respect. Dear Miss thank you for your community. I apologize for today on my mistake with full service at the end. I do not have good news for you. If you reflect on it, you may see where we differ. If you wish to interview me on my experience in public and development of life, my opinions on the period, issues, my part in them, then I refer you where I can. So persons or sources can constantly put. Second so, I took a position in biology of myself. And I have no material resources to lead or off. One of them is an interest in the topic and the field of life. It's not an objection. Students choosing a topic agree with purpose. In short, I am open to your questions and interviews. Start cooperating in my geography. Next, equation, all encouragement. I saw where we did work, and I went back, and I discussed it at the college, came here, and it was a home from there on. And we communicated from 2007 to 2012. I have hundreds of videos, some of them are online, some of them are entire pages of videos. We using the full and I have never sit in one of them. I have all of them. So it's very important. I could show you I have entire experience in my all of them that I was able to go back today and show like on the first encounter that one that I have cherished and when it first came, we met for the very first time. I felt so honored as I was able to complete that MBA and with truth, with no corrections or anything like that, but the support that I got from so I am extremely grateful for that. So what I want to quickly, mention some of the quotes that I found from my work that they kind of resonate with you. And there is one that says there has been no room at all for ideas, guilty rate all the time. That came from kind of work, no guilty rate. And to me, it's one of the most important ones written in the aftermath of the racial violence during 1960. It was a concept, and it was a moral and political theme for unity, arguing against racial blame and on justice, truth, and reconciliation. Right? And also from that work, quote, we can arrive at consciousness of guilt only by pushing back. It is back. The freedom I had the opportunity of looking at was the website Strike, the old policy. And it was published in the early 1970s, and like the 1971 website for LinkedIn. And that work starts as both a political speech and call for solidarity. In it, Kwayana emphasizes rights as a class struggle, workers' state and corporate exploitation. And he basically frames rights not just as an illustrative action, but as a political confrontation with authoritarian tendencies in the my favorite quote from that quote, the whole politics relies on the vision and the struggle to one collective generation. God love us, understand the texture, understand the unfinished work, unfinished task. Of course, that jumped out as we will quote, a government that fears only will collaborate on higher that came from you look at mentioned from a guidance in which kind of offers critical examination of classes, provided insights into social documents and cultural dynamics of the example of how Jim Jones, who is a member of the temple, shows psychological control here, while also exploring racial and class ideas. And the other one that I found interesting was called Jonestown was not just an American tragedy, it was a dynamic tragedy. Land, the silence, and respect. I will end by my favorite quote that was used so Mr. Fire in the 1950s. I know all the words this confounded nonsense one of them. Right to the great from Panasonic, prior to
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Alistair, and to everyone there. We appreciate your love. It's a very emotional time for us, as you would imagine. And without going into any kind of lecture or even halfway there, I think it's important to reflect that emotion, just like many things that are natural to our humanity, have been somewhat given a bad rap in the Western world. And I mentioned the Western world, even though we're in beautiful Guyana, it's supposed to be the Republic, corporate Republic of Guyana, because much of our thought has been inspired by the West. So it brings greetings from our family. First, want to extend our gratitude to the organizers and the University of Guyana in general. It's a surreal moment in many ways because what's on my mind is some people who used to grace this campus who are no longer with us in the flesh, and the profound work that they did towards our liberation process. So we want to pour libation. It's interesting that I come from two serious educators, and not just educators, but among the things that they taught so many generations of people is the English language. And yet here I am, the offspring, and I fire upon the king and the queen's English and chance I get. But that's not because we're are opposed to enlightenment and education, of course, and the worldview that languages carry. You know, the patriarchal and the colonial and the capitalist worldview that we are seeing ravaging the world often is embedded into the languages. So we like the four languages as a reflection of who we truly are. I was on social media the other day and saw something very interesting. I don't remember all the words verbatim, but in essence, it was saying the Christians call it prayer or spirit, intellects call it vibrations, other people call it this, other people call it that. But one thing no one disagrees on is that it's real. Energy is real. So when we pour vibrations, we're just reflecting on the reality of our energy. We're reflecting on what even scientists in the West have been forced to admit that we are the sum total of the ancestors who came before us, the people who came before us. That's why in every tradition, in any walk of life, you will find that people observe newborn babies, trying to figure out which granny or which auntie or which such and such they look like. Right? Is this true? So I want to invite you to fully participate in this exercise of reflection of ourselves. And share. And the word that was just mentioned, I've asked if we could use that one word. There are many other words we can use, words of application as before, the word of the mouth, just to reflect again our collective reality and our collective consciousness and our collective will to be excellent human beings. Because that's why I'm sure the universal grant will be directed, right? To help to nurture excellent human beings, people who will move civilization forward, truly, not in a way that destroys one another. When I speak of our mama, we're talking about our mother, our collective mama, our earth. All of this which we stand in this beautiful building, the comfort of the building, through the air conditioning and other things, all of the core, all of this is coming from our mother. So it's very fitting that we are reflecting today with this video doing on the abundance of our mother. It's not a factory going on now. And so I'm emphasizing these things just to set the context because I think that's what's happening in the world today. We see things, we're looking at things in a very, what's the word, transactional way instead of a nurturing way. So first, in that spirit, I would like to go with the name of one who did not ever walk this road. I don't know that he made it to Guyana, but he's someone who has influenced the world in terms of returning the love to our mother earth. This is Dr. George Washington Carver. So when I call names, we're actually use the name, use the word Ashe. Anyone say that? Ashe. Now we're saying that you agree, let it be so it is the word of affirmation. I was led to invoke Dr. Carver because he helped to found an institution called the Tuskegee. Many Guyanese have moved abroad and gone to the Tuskegee Institute. But the story behind Dr. Carver, when he was called to Tuskegee by Booker T. Washington, I don't remember the words verbatim, but something to the essence of fortune and fame I can promise you. One you have, and the other you will surely receive. What I can promise you instead is work. Hard work. The work of restoring moving people to full personhood. And I just reflect on how many of us got an email saying those things in the year 2025, but reply affirmatively, right? So it's always like that. And it would make sense. Dr. Carver, of course, he responded affirmatively. He came and did that work. One of the things that he reminded us is we must replenish the earth. What is happening right now in the world of agriculture is take, and not return to the earth. So we're not treating her like our mother. Imagine you go to your grandmother's house for Easter or Christmas or this and that. They never actually feed you like grandmother would, right? But we never go and say, grandma, can you look at feet? Can I go into the market with you? Can I take you on a walk? Can I take you for a drive in my friend's car? That's the mentality that we can identify with in many different ways that we are looking to refer. I say, before that nation first and foremost to the creator of the heaven and earth, whom by many names and nation. Before libation, and before libation, the water, the first prime water, the Testament, and the commission of God will return to the earth, just as the rain and finishes the earth. Before libation, the first people of the planet Earth, the first people who established family, the first people who established community on the banks of the many rivers, the first people who stand still as a model of humanity. Here in Guyana, a land of many people, and all of those people, anthropologists, scientists, sociologists, declared come from one group. And that landmass is now called Africa. There was a time, for instance, when the empire of Queen Makeda of biblical creation stretched all the way to modern Egypt. There's a mountain range called the East Kush Mountain. There's a man named Dr. Aluma Rashidi who has done immense research on the first people of all the whole earth when there was a continent divided, people started traveling over land and sea. So when we honor our African ancestors, we're honoring ourselves. We're honoring the root of the tree that we are a part of. We honor the first blacksmiths, the first masons, the first fishers, the first weavers, the first storytellers, the first chemists, the first scientists, different disciplines, the first astronomers, the people who charted Sirius B without a telescope thousands of years ago. We honor the first builders of civilization upon the banks of the river. We honor the mothers and fathers who traversed the seven seas long before there was a colonialism which came to our shores. The Moors and others who went way before Columbus and established civilization in the Western Hemisphere, in places like the Turtle Island, in places like now that's called North America, in places like Central America, South America, in Australia and other places all over the world. They sailed and they came as free people. And their blood, their energy still remains on this land where they came when they first established land. We give honor to the Muslim fathers on the African continent who confronted the colonialists when they came. They welcomed them with open arms, and yet they were not naive. When they realized what they were facing, the type of degradation that they were facing in terms of how humanity had fallen so far to want to take someone and make them a slave. They sharply used their ingenuity. They dared to survive. The honor of the mothers that moving in other places. When they saw their family leaving, snatched away and not coming back, they began to raise seed into each other's hair. And this is the origin of the palm rule. Because they wanted to take the life essence of them wherever they were going. They were going to the unknown. However, they drew on their instinct, they drew on their humanity, and they kept with them that which was most sacred to their sustenance. We honor the mothers and fathers who came to these shores, and the Africans who came on that ship, the people from India who came as Egyptian servants, the first and foremost, those who came, as we always said, before any of them, the Aborigines, and those who came from different parts of the world, the people in this land. We honor those who, as Walter Raleigh said, especially in the African and Indian context, when they first met each other, the time when they first meet, they were pitted against each other. They were met with unnatural needs of separation. They were taught evil things about each other. And we bring this up because we don't have any time to mix words when it comes to the imperative of reversing the ruling of mindset. So we have to go to the root of what is causing our issues in our dear Guyana. Our people were pitted against each other. And we honor them for their resilience. We honor them for the dignity that they found, despite those artificial teachings. I'd like to invite you now to call upon the names of people in your own bloodline. Oftentimes we talk about ancestors, we think about the ones of great notoriety, you know, and they achieve notoriety for a reason, most of them, for good work. However, it should be clear that none of us would be here without our own grandmother and grandfather, uncle, auntie, sister, brother. So let's call their names and invoke their energy, invoke their memory in this week. That's it. That's it.
College Alexander Reed.
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it.
Kenneth Hopkins.
That's it. I honor my grandfather, Bertie King, who passed away in Mozambique before he came returned as a ship to work with his family. And if he hadn't passed away, maybe we might not be having this conversation today, especially around Brother Eusi Kwayana. I honor my maternal grandmother, Claudia Larry. We honor all of our people. And there are three names that I must invoke in this space, who are all to me uncles, aunties, people who represented the best of us, with their scholarship and in the fact that they took their scholarship outside of their academic walls, into the streets, into the gullies, into the dark places, to shine the light. They didn't just keep what they knew to themselves. We hear of Dr. Walter Raleigh. We hear of one who truly was and still is the conscience of our Ghanaian nation, and that is. And we hear of one who I remember fondly with the voice of thunder and the mind of dignity and beauty, Dr. Joshua Hanson. Finally, let us acknowledge those who are not yet born, those children who must come if humanity is to flourish, not just to survive, but to thrive. Those children who will one day stand in this circle and call upon our name. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.
Thank you very much. Right, I will now give time for Elton to briefly to briefly give us the context of this particular act.
There was one 2 years ago,
when things were happening. But along the way, he felt forgotten. And I felt it yes to speaking to some of the people because in time we all do not get words. I work at a what we call interactive education. And in that period, I know I bought a lot of phone. So I didn't get it. So over the year of the phone, one day I was working with an experiment with several banks, right? And the doctor called the experiment. When I checked with it, exactly what Dr. Watson so performed. So along the way, especially as we go in the 2010, 2015, I started to do something different from what I did. And even some people, they were saying, despite our history, right in front of our faces, and many of us never really. So I said, I think I need to start speaking to some of the older people who are still alive give us a picture, right? I remember hearing someone wanted to see the culture. There was one people they name of the culture month. Why culture month? Because that's where the culture people that have. I said, oh, the story that I started doing some of the very people want to. And what brother described to me, in particular, in this civilization, the individual and the Israel. And
And so we will go straight into the video now, just to know that reading of this particular interview is a special time from Brother Eusi. So I'm sure that we will all learn a lot.
we discussing village life, village issues. Brother Kwayana grew up in a village. So what it was like to grow up in a village in the first instance, and what only itself as a village feel when talking of this village, if that is like.
Well, thank you, Craig. Welcome to our group. You're giving me a lot of